Today I'm going to talk about King Minos against Philip II. Well, these two bad boys, these two crazy tanks in Heroes of History Epic Empire, I'm going to try to make a comparison and choose which, in my opinion, is going to be the better tank. Both of them are absolutely crazy tanks in Heroes of History Epic Empire. So first thing first, let's have a little overview over the King Minos, and I personally have a lot of experience with King Minos. Is my favorite tank. I play with him for so long. So the main power of the King Minos is actually the shield. Now we're having different tanks in Heroes of History Epic Empire, and some of the tanks are taunting everybody, but at the same time they're extremely squishy, but not with King Minos. The main power of King Minos is this 1.1k shield that he get. Obviously his spell is max level, is level 25. With the best heroes or meta heroes, I definitely level up those spells to the last point. That's why I even have I get the question why I have like 169k of this mastery point. The reason behind is when I get extremely valuable good hero, I try to level up him as fast as I can. This is the reason why I have some points in extra. So the thing with the King Minos is that he's pure tank. By pure tank. Taunt all enemies for 5 seconds. 5 seconds is completely enough time to hold the lines, and basically the enemy units do not hit something different from King Minos. If it's a troop, if it's a heroes, different heroes have different spells. If it's prioritizing heroes, obviously it may not actually hit King Minos if there is no taunt there. Increase his defense by 12% for 8 seconds. This is a very decent one, 8 seconds. A regular charge is 10.4 seconds. So you can see that this thing covers like 80% from the combat. From the whole battle, you're going to have 80% from the time this extra 12% defense. And obviously he's healing himself for 385% of his base damage. This is what I really like, is boosting his HP. And if you see the defense and the HP, getting 385% of his oh, it's actually from his base damage, sorry about that. Yeah, this is the base damage that currently my King Minos are having. Now what I really like about this hero is, again, the shield, the taunt, the crazy survivability this hero is having, the defense 12%, which is covered the majority of the time. And yeah, the defense is a solid like 878 at this point. Obviously if it's a higher level, it's going to be higher. Now let's take a look over the Philip II, the other hero that we're comparing. These two very solid tanks that are looking very similar, to be fair, but in the same time they're completely different. So Philip II of Macedon is also heavy infantry, is defender, and the ability is looking from point of shield. Philip is giving more shield in from King Minos in Heroes of History Epic Empire. So the shield here is 126, but my King Minos spell was level 25. Here we're looking at the level 1 spell, so this is not the correct way to, you know, make the comparison. This is at level 25. I don't know if you can actually see. Yeah, you should be seeing. Shield himself for oh my god, what happened? Shield himself for 1.7k of his base damage. Taunt all enemies. Obviously the shield here is like 600 more. 600 more a shield for Philip of Macedon. Taunt all enemies for 5 seconds. We already have this thing with the King Minos. After 5 seconds, deal 67% of his base damage and 9% of his remaining shield as a area damage to the enemies within the radius of 2 around him, and remove his shield. Now what I liked here is, by the way, this area of effect, yeah, we're not having something like a diffused area of effect. I want to point out this thing because You know, I have some played some other games where if the hero is doing AoE damage, is something that the amount of troops that you're hitting is reflecting over the some diffusion of the damage. But anyway, here we're having more shield, but in the same time, King Minos covered this more shield that the Philip is having with his extra HP. 384% more HP is going to heal himself in form of based on the damage. Now the thing I want to point out and the difference between the shields and healing the HP is there is no big difference if the shield don't have any kind of cooldown. For example, I shield myself, and if nobody touch my shield, this shield is going to be at the end of the fight. And so far, we're not seeing any kind of end of the shield. Only when after 5 seconds he's doing some damage when and remove his shield. I don't remember quite well. Is it the same with the King Minos? Shield for his damage, taunt all enemies. Yeah, the shield here is actually sitting, but the Philip one get removed, and at the same time he's benefiting from this because he's doing some extra damage. Now 9% from the remaining shield. To be fair, and this is as a AoE damage. He's yeah, this is the base damage, 67%, and this 9% from the shield. Now, to be fair, the shield is most likely is not going to be that much. If you taunt all of the troops or all of the heroes and troops, most likely you're not going to have that many shield left. Okay, you're going to have like, I don't know, maybe 200, 300, or not even have any shield. The majority of the cases, you're not going to have even shield right there. So from this, by looking from this point, this 9%, it is basically nothing. This 67% maybe is going to do some extra damage, but for me personally, this spell or the was section after 5 seconds dealing 67% and blah blah blah, it's actually for the removing of the shield of the Philip, because the shield is 1.7k. This is a huge amount. And if you have like 2 tanks, for example, Otto and Philip, and you know this is your front lines, and Otto taunt when all the troops go at Otto. At this point, Philip taunt and the troops start moving in Philip direction. I actually did this thing a couple times in very hard situation in the campaigning and worked perfectly well. But yeah, if something like this, so there is no shield stack, but in general, I think even with 1.7k, the shield is going to get dropped. At least this is my opinion from my personal experience playing Heroes of History Epic Empire. And so far, if you like the video, don't forget to hit one like for the Philip, hit the subscribe for the King Minos, and if you want to support my work, you can become a member of my channel. So the other thing is, okay, we already know what the Philip is doing. We already know what the King Minos are doing. Which hero I would prefer? And the short answer for me is going to be King Minos. The only reason behind is, yes, Philip is going to give you some extra damage in form of 67% and blah blah blah. He's having good amount of shield. But the survivability of King Minos is going to be on way better. Even though the shield is not that big, still he's healing himself for like 385 of his base damage, but he's getting this extra 12% defense. On the other side, Philip is doing some damage. Now, if I have strong heroes that are doing some damage, like for example Maria Curie, this is just for example, I'm not actually going to need my tanks to do damage. I'm going to need them to do tank stuff, because my damage dealers is just going to do way more damage. So between the King Minos and Philip, even though that they're looking very similar, I think the King Minos is having better trait with his defense, extra 12% defense for 8 seconds, over the Philip that is having some extra damage that he's doing, even though the percentage, by percentage, the damage is more from the defense the King Minos are receiving. But still, I'm huge supporter of King Minos. So yeah, this is my little comparison between these two heroes. Let me know in the comments below, guys, what you think about the King Minos and Philip. Which one you have, which one you actually test, what is the results, are you happy with these results, are you not happy with these results, and etc. So far, I wish you great day and see you in the next video.